7991973. It's fantastical. It's fantasy football. And KB, it's also Schadenfreude, which will be, we're pouring shots today before we even open the Central Standard Distillery Timeout Sports Lounge. Pouring shots of it.
You can have your Schadenfreude all you want, because I just want shots with a man who has to use 2 bar stools when he goes into a bar, one for him and one for the G he carries around. It's Aaron Nagler, Cheesehead
ladies
TV.
and gentlemen.
Wasn't sure where that one was headed, but you got there, KB. Well done, buddy. Well done. Proud of you.
Aaron Nagler, presented on the Drew and KB program by Miller Lite. Great taste, 96 calories. It's Miller time. Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference in Rogers Behavioral Health. What's up, Nags?
Not much. It's funny. Your caller is spot on. They do have the first-round pick, the Jets do, tied up for the year. If they can't use it to try and trade for somebody, for instance. But I don't think they want to do that. But if they were to desire to do so, they would have to talk to the Packers.
I also don't think the Vikings want to trade Kirk Cousins.
Oh my goodness, how fun was that? Always great to watch the Vikings lose. Always great to watch.
That's the thing,
Nags.
It seems to me, and KB and I, we think we have this kind of vision of Nags being like the altruistic, all-inclusive, Packers fan, you do you, and I'm just going to carry the G and focus on the G. Do you allow yourself to revel when rivals falter like the Bears and Vikings?
Yes. Are you kidding me? Are you? What do you guys the drink from the chalice of Vikings fans' tears? Yes, of course. Come on. Absolutely.
So they're 0-2 start, and I just said, looking at the tea leaves, their next game when they convene a week from Sunday is against the Chargers, who are no pushover. Then they have Carolina, okay, and then Kansas City. Yeah, they could be looking at 1-4 a quarter.
It's just a shame, man. Just a shame.
Just a shame that they could get to the 1/3 of the season poll at 1-5.
Well, that team, they won so many close games last year, and Vikings fans didn't want to talk about it all offseason. But regression to the mean is a thing. And here we go, Vikings. Have fun.
And people make fun of me when I bring up like run differential in baseball. Even Wags the other day said, all I care about is run differential at the end of the game, right? But it is a function of it. Close games are a bounce, a call, a break.
One play here, one play there.
One play here, one play there. Good teams win where there isn't that big that cushion. But in any 100%. Event, next, shifting gears, getting closer to home. It's Friday, Packers at Atlanta on Sunday. Of course, we're focused on the injury report. What does your spidey sense tell you about the availability of Quay Walker, Christian Watson, and Aaron Jones, and David Bakhtiari, who's been listed as questionable?
Bakhtiari is the interesting one, mostly because of his very public kind of crusade regarding turf fields and grass and wanting the conversion to happen. And look, the stadium they're going to be playing in on Sunday uses the same turf that MetLife does, where he just watched his buddy go down. And
but it can't be rain-soaked.
No, it can't be rain-soaked, but it's the same turf. And we know he's no fan. So obviously he hasn't practiced pretty much all year anyway. So it's not like that's new or anything, but he is listed as questionable. So we'll see. I think that's probably a game-time decision kind of thing. And Coach said he'll probably be questionable most of the season, so I'm not surprised, right? As for the others, I don't feel good about Aaron Jones playing in this game. It doesn't seem to be trending the right way. Christian Watson, I think there's a chance. And with Quay Walker, he's still officially in the concussion protocol. So you would think that's probably a outside chance, but he has trended the right way as far as he's done a little bit more practice each day. I got to think there's a decent chance he plays. So, it's not the best. Obviously, you want all those guys out there, but it sure sounds like there's a good chance they have Quay. I'd say a 50-50 chance on Christian Watson, and I'll be surprised if Aaron Jones is out there.
Okay, they won a game with Christian Watson out. Not ideal, but they did win. But they were facing the Bears.
Correct.
Are we looking at Emmanuel Wilson? What does the depth chart say? First of all, let's start with Bakhtiari because he, obviously is the anchor of that line. Yeah. So how do you shuffle the deck? How do you think that? What do you think they do? I suspect can't go.
If he can't go, they'll probably play Zach Tom over there at left tackle. Leave Elton where he is at guard, and then have Josh Nijman play right tackle, would be my guess. Now, maybe Rasheed Walker, who is listed as the backup, maybe he gets a shot, though he hasn't played any regular season snaps for them outside of a handful of special team snaps last year. Maybe they go that way. But I do think as far as left tackle goes, I would be surprised if it was anybody other than Zach Tom.
Okay. Because we don't know what they've been doing at practice this week or anything like that. And that's,
right.
I know Billy's a big Rasheed Walker fan, but you and I both Zach Tom fans.
Love Zach Tom. I tell you what, though, Rasheed Walker had an outstanding summer. Like, he looked very, very good. So I would be fine if they go that route, but I would think for it as important as left tackle is, they probably slide Zach over there. Although there's a case to be made, try to leave everybody in their spots, right? Like, don't move anybody and just put Rasheed Walker at left tackle. But again, left tackle is pretty darn important. So maybe they put Josh.
They've had a lot of success moving guys, bouncing guys around.
They have. Although
that's what brought Elton Jenkins to the front of the line.
Although I will say, I think that kind of bit them last year at the start of the season. They were doing a lot of shuffling early on, and I don't think that was a recipe for success. So I think there's a case to be made. Like, you want your best 5 out there, but leave them intact as much as you can as far as the positions they've been practicing at, they've played, etc. I do think there's a decent chance they go that route.
Chemistry and just that whole handing it off.
100%.
Who's the Lucas Patrick? Who's the, in case of emergency, break glass that we can put him in? Because that guy, Lucas Patrick, had his limitations, but he was a mauler and he gave you everything he had out there. Who's that guy now?
Not sure they have one. They have obviously Zach Tom, who's incredibly position malleable, so to speak. He can play up and down the line. But as far
I consider him a starter, though.
Yeah, exactly. But that's my point. So, like, coming off the bench, they've got a lot of depth at tackle. They don't have a ton of depth along the interior. They just don't, man. Rashawn Ryan had an up and down summer. Other than that, I think their backup center would probably be Elton Jenkins if something were to happen to Josh Myers, or Zach Tom.
They wouldn't go to Runyon?
I doubt it. Again, keep him in one spot. I would suspect, but I don't know, man. Like, it's not like they have that kind of rough tumble off the bench come in and be able to plug and play without kind of moving guys around.
Talking with Aaron Nagler, Cheesehead TV. He's a Monday and Friday guest on the Drew and KB program. Bookends for us.
Yes,
Nagler bookends. So if Rasheed Walker, the offensive line aside, Emmanuel Wilson also had a good summer.
He did. He did indeed, and he made the 53, although he was inactive for the game in Chicago. However, I think the reason you keep Emmanuel Wilson around is for occasions like this. If Aaron Jones is unable to go, I would not be surprised if he is active for the first time, and I'm not going to sit here and say he's going to get a ton of carries, but I think he's in the mix, and if he starts to get hot, then maybe you ride it a little bit, but I do think AJ will probably be the lead back, and hopefully he has a more productive performance and he gets some of the haters off his back, because I just don't think he had a lot to work with up front last week. We talked about that on Monday, but I do think Emmanuel Wilson will see the ball.
And he was slippery in spurts, definitely, in the preseason. Okay, the other thing that stood out about the injury report and didn't think about it, Daniel Whalen, finger
injury, but a full participant. So
full participant, finger, but he's also the holder, and I hope it's not the finger that he uses to hold the ball.
Got to catch that ball.
No doubt.
Either when he's holding for field goals or just to catch, the long snap on the punt. He's got to use his hands, so here's hoping. But I guess, he's a full participant. It's a finger. What do you just cut it off. You'll be fine. Come on, go full. Go full.
Full Ronnie Lott.
Ronnie Lott, exactly.
Cut it off.
Just cut it off, man. You'll be fine.
Oh my goodness. So as you've been studying this game, Nags, what frightens you about the Falcons, and why is it their defense?
It's definitely their defense. Well, I mean, their running game is no joke. They've got a really talented offensive backfield, no question about it. But yeah, the defense is nuts, man. It's like, as far as like the fronts they throw at you, the different coverages, the amount of disguise, just they're all over the map. So it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a lot more difficult, I think, for Jordan and company, especially just sorting out protections pre-snap, than it was against Chicago. Chicago, very familiar opponent. They know, they just run their stuff, quote unquote. So you're pretty sure what you're going to get from down to down. Jordan referenced that post game. I think with Atlanta, it's going to be very different. It's going to be really multiple, and they're really going to challenge Jordan's ability to ID things both before the snap and then after the snap, the rotation of the safeties, trying to be able to see what he's, really seeing what's there rather than thinking it's one thing and finding out it's something else.
Considering the backdrop and considering, new punter and new kicker, did we talk enough about the special teams? Is this the Bisaccia thing, or is he now established and we're not
right? So we're not worried about it.
We're not drinking in what he's doing. We're just like, have we come to where are we with this?
Where were we for so long, Drew? You and I
just wanted competence.
Be competent.
Just competence.
And
I'll
tell you what. It looked competent on Sunday, and throw in a pretty fantastic punt return from Jaden Reed. Like, I'm special teams, baby. Let's go.
Jaden Reed's my guy, man.
I love him.
Yeah, it just feels like we didn't celebrate or comment on it enough.
Good.
Are we already taking it for granted?
We're not taking it for granted.
Yes, no.
It's just like the bear in the corner at the party that you don't want to wake up. You just let it be.
But the special teams are like umpires. You only really notice them when they're bad.
Yeah, exactly. 100% correct.
Next, Pat from De Pere hits us on the talking text line, and he said, what was when Bakhtiari blew his knee out? Was that on turf or was that on grass?
I think it was on grass. I think it was on the practice field in Green Bay. But we don't know how it. Here's the thing, though. We don't know how it happened. And they might have been inside, actually. They might have been in the Hudson Center because it was New Year's Eve day. So it would have been cold out.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
so that would have been on turf.
Elton got hurt in Minnesota on turf.
Yeah.
And Zabe and I were at that game. We were about 20 rows up in that end zone where it happened.
So I would think Bakhtiari most likely got hurt in the Hudson Center, would be my guess.
Do you think that obviously he's advocating, he's a veteran player, he has his right to speak his mind and suggest that Roger Goodell is taking toad poison?
That was hilarious. I loved it.
It was so Bach. Only a guy who went to Colorado could say that, right?
And I'm sure he consulted with
Aaron Rodgers.
On
there you go. Tase me, baby. Tase me.
No, we retired the taser.
Oh, the taser's done. Okay.
Yeah, we have retired the taser now.
That lasted as long as Rodgers in New York.
4 snaps.
Yeah, pretty much.
The taser is done. Man. We can say his name now. But does that enter is that part of the calculus? They would not sit because they're going to play games on turf, right?
I don't know, man. I got to tell you.
If they make it to the Super Bowl, that game's going to be on turf.
It is. But here's the thing. Like, it's so kind of unique, his situation, both the injury itself and how they're handling him. Remember Chad Clifton towards the end? Never, ever practiced, but was there every Sunday. I suspect that's where we're at with Dave. I just think
does that connote putting him on as questionable? Do you have to?
Well, who knows, man? That's the other thing, because there's no more probable, right? So who knows if it's questionable leaning towards he's not going to play or questionable most likely more probable. You know what I mean? Like, they've completely messed it up by taking away the probable designation. And here's the thing. Remember when Tom Brady was listed with a shoulder injury the majority of his career, but it never kept him out of a game? I suspect it could be like that. Like, yes, he's dealing with this knee injury for the rest of his career, so we have to list him. Maybe that's it. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, and this is the same surface as at MetLife Stadium.
Yep.
And
Sir.
It's the same one that he's been railing against, and it would be awful to see him get hurt on this because he's almost calling a shot.
Yep, exactly. I don't know, man. I get it, though. Look, how long was he out? How frustrating was his journey to get back on the field at all? And then to have this kind of horrific, to be watching his friend go down with this horrific injury. I got to think for Dave, it's just a bit of a boogeyman, Like, every time you're out there, you got to be thinking about it at least a little bit, because I'm sure his knee is not right and probably never will be. So I got to think it's on his mind, like when he's moving and he just catches or whatever. So I get it.
Put us in the competition committee meeting at the Breakers. We walk past the croquet lawn and we're in there. Which would you rather have? And this is, I'm sure it's probably going to be the turf, but which problem would you rather have the NFL address? The turf and go with grass fields mandated across the league, or, and this is, again, I'm not feeling any sympathy really for the Vikings, but that fumble through the end zone rule, now that they've kind of fixed overtime, might be the dumbest thing the NFL has.
No, I love that rule. I love that.
What?
Rule. Hold on to the ball. Hold on to the freaking ball. Wait, a rule that actually benefits the defense.
Yes.
Oh my God. Amazing.
You're dry shaving me.
I love it. I love it, man. Hold on to the ball. How tough is that? Hold on to the freaking ball.
That's your job.
Tough.
Yes.
That's the same argument I got from the overtime troglodytes who said, just hold them. And then when you could win the game on a field goal, you would get a 20-yard return, a 15-yard penalty, and then a 10-yard gain, and then you kick a field goal, and it's like, stop them. Well, who did the team stop that, didn't play defense in overtime? Just hold the ball. What did the defense do? A lot of times they're not even jarring it loose. What if a guy's trying to?
It's been 3 hours. I got places to be. Just make it sudden death.
What if a guy's trying to devise his spike and he just drops the ball on himself? He's alone by 10 yards and it goes through the end zone. Then they lose the ball and the defense.
What if aliens come down and abduct me right now?
They have.
What if, man?
Didn't you see the images from Mexico? Come on.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
they're here.
That is a dumb rule to me, though. It really is. It's something I've thought, and it doesn't come up very often because teams don't generally fumble.
Think about the game itself. It's dudes running into each other and trying to get a ball over a line. Like, the whole thing is dumb. Like, yes, there are rules. Yes. One of them is don't fumble through the end zone.
But why is that rule in place? Was it always a problem? Was it always like, has it been? Just seems like a stupid
it's probably
rule.
back to the Holy Roller days when they were trying to like fumble Ruski and then advance the ball into the end zone. Probably
the suggestions I've seen is that, okay, if the offense does it, if you're in like the red zone and stuff, it's an offensive touchback, and then you get the ball, you lose the down, and you get the ball back at your 20 or 25, whatever you want. Or let's say it's a long run and you're out of the red zone, you just go back and it's like an incompletion. You go back to where you were.
Hold on.
The defense didn't earn the ball. They didn't get it. They didn't.
Sure, they did. They made them fumble. Forced fumble.
Well, not necessarily. People fumble on their own.
That's fine. This reminds me of the ground can't cause a fumble, even though we watch it cause a fumble all the time.
But if it's a fumble falls in the forest and it's not heard.
It's just funny how like people choose to be upset about this rule, but it's like there's a million rules that are dumb. Like that's just rules.
That's true. Well, yeah. Then we'll address like the whole injured reserve.
Oh my gosh. Well, can we? I mean, clean up roughing the passer first before we talk about fumbles and end zones. I mean, roughing the passer is absurd in this league.
Can we? How about we just determine and define exactly what a quote football move is?
No,
why don't we start there?
Or a catch.
Or a catch.
Right.
Or a catch. Yes.
We need a council of 5 drunk guys at a bar to all agree every catch is a catch. That's what
I know you'll be carrying the G. I know you'll be doing the watch party.
Yes, sir.
But what does your gut tell you about this game? Will we be jubilant at 3:05 on Sunday afternoon?
Packers win a close one. That's what I think.
I like that prediction.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. And then you got the home opener and 2 games in a week. And
can't wait.
Baby,
very exciting stuff. Very exciting stuff.
Keep carrying the G, my brother.
Thank you, brother. Talk to you guys soon.
Yep,
Aaron Nagler, cheeseheadtv.com.